Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dan here again, and in this episode of Monster Fish Files, we're going to be talking about the tiger oscar. So to start things off, the oscar is a species of fish known from the cichlid family. It has many common names such as the tiger oscar, velvet cichlid, marble cichlid, red oscar, and albino oscar. The oscar is originally from South America, and if you go to South America, you can usually find these guys as fish food in local markets, and also the fish has been introduced to many other areas such as China, Australia, and all over the United States because it's considered a popular aquarium fish, which it is, because I own one myself. I have a tiger oscar, so they are pretty awesome to keep. You know, they don't get too big of a size. We're talking 12 to 18 inches here. It depends on what size aquarium you have and what you feed them. Talking about what you feed them, if you're going to feed these guys pellets, they'll stay a bit smaller, but if you want to have yours on a meat eater, such as like eating lance fish, krill and stuff like that, it's going to get a lot bigger. So if you want it to stay smaller, around 12 inches, you're going to want to feed it pellets, but it can still get big on pellets. It's just that's got more of a chance of staying smaller. And if you want the fish to get bigger, you'd obviously feed it meat, and just anything to do with meat, and then the fish should get quite larger quite quicker. Moving on to the subject of breeding these guys, I have actually bred my two old breeding pairs. They did lay the eggs, but I never managed to spawn the eggs because I had other fish in my aquarium, so the spawn of the oscars would have got eaten either way. So I tried to take the eggs out of the tank, but it's quite a hard task if you don't have the right equipment. But to do this, the male will usually have dark blotches on their dorsal fins, and then the females will obviously not have those. But sometimes what you can get with oscars is two females can lay eggs and they won't get fertilized. So that could happen to you. Your oscars could be laying eggs all day long, but they never hatch because it's just two females. That is quite common. These guys will usually breed on a flat, clean surface. Whether they have to clean that surface themselves, what they'll do is they'll get all the rocks in their mouth and they'll move them out the way so they get to the bottom of the glass where it's flat, and then they'll lay between 1,000 and 3,000 eggs like most cichlids would. And the last thing to note about these guys while breeding is they get extremely aggressive towards any fish in your aquarium. So the best thing to do is just have these guys in an aquarium on their own. Quite big, you're looking at 100 gallons maybe. I had mine in a 75, but they were alright in there. You know, I had good dimensions and stuff like that. But if you really want to have a good job at breeding these guys, you are looking at about 100 gallon. You have to look at the dimensions as well. Best ways, I'd say maybe a 4 or 5 foot long, and then these guys get 18 inches, so you want at least 18 inches wide, maybe 2 feet wide. So a 5x2 should be absolutely perfect for a breeding pair of these guys. And then you'll want at least a 75 gallon to put the eggs in, and then a 75 gallon could be like probably more long ways, not so much height, because you know you're just having small guys in there. And then whatever you want to do with those after they've hatched is up to you. You could sell them, do whatever you want along those lines. But yeah, that's going to be it with this topic of breeding, and now we're going to be on to feeding. Now the best thing to feed these guys is going to be typically just normal oscar pellets. I find Hikari or cichlid gold, you know, they're the best ones to be feeding your oscar. They give a nice colour, an even growth rate. But you can also feed stuff like crayfish, worms, insects, but you know, you could get diseases, and I got parasites in my tank just from feeding them earthworms. Parasites, I didn't have an actual extreme parasite, but I wanted to get rid of it anyway because you don't like the sound of, oh, I got a parasite in my tank. It's not what you want to be hearing. So I did deal with that problem. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend feeding insects. I just stick to the pellets. You can also live feed. Live feed will increase your growth rate of your fish, but again, you're looking at, unless you want to quarantine, if you're going to quarantine your fish, then you know, go for live feeding all you want. So yeah, that's going to be it on the feeding subject, and now we're going to be moving on to aggression levels and tank mates and stuff like that. So first off, no matter whether your oscars are breeding or not, they're always going to claim one area of the aquarium, and they're going to be very aggressive to any fish that comes near that area. So you want to have fish that can defend themselves, quite large, because any fish they can fit in their mouth, they're going to eat. As that's mostly the rule with all big fish, just have them the same size. So I went with stuff like a snakehead. I know they're not allowed in the US, but you know, I did go with snakeheads and Pangasius catfish, African pike, anything along those lines. You know, if you want to have an arowana, if you've got a bigger tank, plecos, large plecos, just anything along the lines of big. But you don't want to have like other cichlids, because then you can have cichlid fights. That's not good. What they do is they lip lock and really tear each other apart. You just want to have any other big fish that's not another cichlid. So, you know, no pike cichlids, no Jack Dempseys, nothing like that. No jaguar cichlids. You can't have anything like that. You only want to stick to one, unless you're going to have an aquarium that's fully loaded. Because if you know the rule with cichlids, you should overstock. It's not necessarily overstocking, but you have loads of fish in the aquarium, so nobody can be singly targeted out. So the more the merrier, if you want to keep loads of cichlids. And now the last topic on these guys is going to be interesting facts. Now the first one is going to be from a guy called Lewis. Yeah, it's a pretty basic name. But Lewis, in 1831, discovered the tiger Oscar, but mistakenly believed it was marine species, which is quite interesting. So, but later after that, they discovered that it's just a freshwater fish, not actually marine. But Lewis did fuck up. Lewis thought it was a marine fish. So that's an interesting topic, and yeah, that's the only one I really have for these guys. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but that's not like anything extreme. But so if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, you know, get it out there, because I think this was a pretty interesting